For over half a century, one name has haunted the landscape of American true crime: the Zodiac. A phantom who terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 70s, taunting police and the public with a series of cryptic letters and ciphers. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most chilling cold cases of all time, attempting to piece together the puzzle of the Zodiac Killer. Our story begins on December 20th, 1968, on a secluded lover's lane in Benicia. High school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were on their first date. They were found shot and killed outside their car. Initially, it seemed like a tragic but isolated incident. But 6 months later, another attack, this time at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, just a few miles away. Darlene Ferrin and Michael McGough were shot while sitting in their car. Darlene died, but Michael miraculously survived, and this is where the mystery truly begins. Less than an hour after the shooting, a man called the Vallejo Police Department. He calmly reported the crime, and in a chilling detail, he also claimed responsibility for the murders of Jensen and Faraday the previous year. The reign of the Zodiac had officially started. On August 1st, 1969, 3 newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald each received a handwritten letter. The author provided details only the killer could know and demanded the papers publish a cipher he had created. If they refused, he threatened to go on a killing rampage. This was the infamous Z408 cipher. The letters were signed with a crossed circle symbol, a chilling insignia that would become synonymous with terror. The cipher, a complex jumble of symbols, was a direct challenge to law enforcement and the public. Just 1 week later, a high school teacher and his wife, Donald and Betty Harden, cracked it. The message wasn't a confession or a name. It was a rambling, misspelled manifesto. It read, in part, "I like killing people because it is so much fun, ... It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." He also claimed he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. The Zodiac wasn't done. On September 27th, 1969, he struck again, this time in broad daylight at Lake Berry. He approached college students, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, wearing a bizarre executioner-style hood. He tied them up before stabbing them repeatedly. He then walked to their car and drew his cross-circle symbol on the door, along with the dates of his previous attacks. Cecilia Shepard tragically died from her injuries, but Brian Hartnell survived and provided a terrifying description of the hooded attacker. 2 weeks later, the Zodiac took his final confirmed victim, a San Francisco cab driver named Paul Stein. This time, the murder was brazen, in the middle of a wealthy neighborhood. The killer took Stein's wallet, keys, and a piece of his blood-soaked shirt. 3 days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter containing that very piece of fabric, proving he was the killer. The letter also contained a chilling threat to attack a school bus full of children. The city was thrown into a state of panic. This letter was followed by another, even more complex cipher, the Z340. For 51 years, this cipher remained unsolved, a testament to the killer's cunning. Cryptographers, both amateur and professional, from the FBI to online sleuths, pored over it. It wasn't until December 2020 that a team of private citizens, David Ornchuk, Sam Blake, and Jarl Van Eyck, finally cracked it. The message was just as disturbing as the first. "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me, ... I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me." Despite these communications, the Zodiac's identity remains one of the biggest questions in criminal history. The investigation produced thousands of leads and several key suspects, but never enough evidence to secure a conviction. The most famous suspect is Arthur Lee Allen. He was a convicted child molester who was in the vicinity of several of the attacks. A survivor, Michael Mageau, even identified him from a photo lineup years later. Allen owned a Zodiac brand watch, wore a size 10.5 boot which matched a print at the Lake Berryessa crime scene, and once told a friend his favorite book was The Most Dangerous Game, the same story referenced in the first cipher. However, his DNA and fingerprints didn't match samples from the letters, and his handwriting was deemed not a match by multiple experts. Allen died in 1992, taking any secrets he had to the grave. Other suspects have emerged over the years. Richard Gaikowski, a newspaper editor, had a physical resemblance to a police sketch and his handwriting was similar. A recent theory pointed to Gary Francis Post, a man who passed away in 2018. An independent group of investigators called the Casebreakers claimed they had DNA evidence linking him, but law enforcement has remained skeptical, stating the evidence is circumstantial. So where does that leave us? The Zodiac is officially credited with 5 murders and 2 attempted murders, though he claimed in his letters to have killed as many as 37 people. His taunting letters and ciphers created a media frenzy, turning a killer into a dark pop culture legend. He played a game with the police, the press, and the public, a game where he set the rules. The case has been a source of obsession for generations of investigators, journalists, and amateur detectives. It shows us the terrifying power of a faceless killer and the enduring pain left behind for the victims' families. The files remain open at various police departments. Even with advances in DNA technology, the trail has gone cold. The Zodiac Killer managed to do what so few do. He vanished, leaving behind only a symbol, a series of taunts, and a question that may never be answered. Who was the Zodiac? The mystery continues, and perhaps one day, a new discovery will finally bring a name to the shadow that has loomed for so long. Thank you for watching. If you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries like this one, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation.